Hey, I'm Joe, and this is EPLW. Like and subscribe for a decent vibe if you want to make sure you don't miss a stream like this in the future. On this week's show, we are looking at one of the craziest game weeks in the history of the EPL, including wins for Newcastle and Leeds, Fantasy Premier League tips, and I want you to start thinking of your best Premier League players, past and present, who have played for Southampton. That's going to be our 11 to finish the show. And if you're watching and you have any suggestions, just comment in the live chat. Also, make sure you tell us what you want to hear about on the pod. Tweet us at EPLWpod. Now, we had a message in from the last show. Jack has asked, after seeing Roz's fantastic managerial impressions from yesterday, Jack said, great show, guys. I'd love to see Roz do an impression of Roy Hodgson for us. So, Roz, get ready. Alongside me today on EPLW are Matt Mus and Roy Hodgson. How are we doing, chaps? Tell our viewers a little bit about yourselves and tell me one thing you can't wait to talk about on today's EPLW. Mus, I'll come to you first. Roz looks mortified at the idea of doing an impression of Roy Hodgson.
Yeah, good luck, Roz. Evening all. I'm Mus. I'm really looking forward to talking about Liverpool.
Okay, Matt.
Matt, Chelsea supporter, and coincidentally, wouldn't mind talking about them today.
And Roy, thanks for joining us on such a, it's great to have such an esteemed guest on the show.
Well, do it, man. I can't do it. It's a hard one. I'm not professional impersonator. And the other thing is that, unlike most of the tabloids, I don't want to sort of take the piss out of his speaking impediment.
Fair enough.
Which, the only thing that was kind of coming to mind was like, I can't do that.
That is completely fair enough. Just in case, just for the viewers,
sorry, Jack.
Just for the viewers, Roz had no idea that was coming. I completely dropped him in it. So fair play for playing along, and fair play for standing by your morals as well. Of course, it isn't Roy Hodgson. It's EPLW's famous ranty Roz. Tell us a bit about yourself, Roz, and what you're looking forward to talking about today.
I'm Roz. I am a Millwall season ticket holder, and I'm looking forward to talking about the quite exciting stalemate between Man United and Arsenal.
Fair enough. Okay, let's get straight into it then. And Mus, I'm going to come straight to you because my eye is drawn to that Egypt shirt behind you with Mr. M. Salah on the back. And what a goal he scored. Well, two magnificent goals he's just put away against West Ham. 2-0 at West Ham, which is no mean feat right now. So, Mus, tell us, what do you make of Mo Salah?
Well, yeah, Liverpool are back and Salah's back on top form. National hero in Egypt, of course. And yeah, I mean, it was a joy to watch him today. The first touch on the second goal was just pure filth. Had to put my mask on just so I don't catch anything. But it was glorious. I loved it. And he's, for someone who's not having a great season, he's kind of, 3 goals clear, on top of the goal scorers chart. So, yeah, he was joyous today.
4th straight season in a row that he scored 20 plus goals in the EPL as well. Roz, anything to add quickly on that game that you saw?
I'd like to look at Trent Alexander-Arnold. I thought he was back to his best today. He was superb. In fact, the week that I said that he wasn't really doing it, the last game week, I think he probably watched and just thought, yeah, I better up my game. Back at his best today. I thought it was brilliant. Did the assist of the assist.
Yes, that ball was
for the Salah goal.
Yeah. That was a really nice ball.
As Mus said, that first touch on his weaker foot from Salah, brought down on his right, killed it, tucked it with his left. Great goal.
Brilliant. Okay, so we're going to move on then to next game. Matt, I'm going to come to you on this one. Leicester Leeds. Leicester 1, Leeds 3. What a result for, one of our favourite managers on EPLW, Marcelo Bielsa, the fantastic Marcelo Bielsa, one of the greatest managers in the world. And he's shown it today by beating Leicester at the King Power 3-1.
Yeah, no, 3 fantastic goals. They,
Sorry,
they really,
Roz has just gone into a full-on sulk. He's really annoyed.
This is,
Yeah, no, I was thinking about Roz when I saw that result. I was like, oh, I bet he's got a few things to say about that.
Do you want to pass over to Roz on this one, Matt?
Yeah. I
Okay, go on then, Roz.
Let me go.
Tell us what Bielsa did wrong today. Come on, he can't have done much wrong today, surely.
Oh, a clean sheet would have been nice. No, terrific result for Leeds. Can't deny that. Naive from Leicester, I thought. For a side that is so counter-attacking, absolutely lethal on the counter-attack. The third goal pretty much summed it up. I know they're sort of chasing the game a bit, but how Bamford got in onside from his own half was an absolute calamity from Leicester. And great pass from the second goal. The Bamford goal, lovely finish, but great pass from Rafinha, who was 17 million as a championship signing. So I think it'd be really nice if people stop talking about Leeds as underdogs when they've spent about 100 million to assemble this side.
Fair enough. Okay, Matt, did you want to add anything to that from today's result?
I mean, it's got to be a bit of a start for Leicester. I mean, they've got big aims for themselves this season, and losing games like that's really going to impede, especially now that Liverpool seems to be finding their mojo. Man City are settling. Yeah, they really can't be letting games like that go.
Cool. Okay, and Mus, how did Leeds beat Leicester today? Was it the Pat Bamford show, or was it more of a team effort?
I think with Leeds, it's always a team effort. Patrick Bamford kind of seems to play in fits and starts, so he hasn't scored in 7 games or something like that in the league. But the team are more than the sum of their parts. The third and final goal, from a Leicester perspective, isn't great, but it shows everything that's good about Leeds. They've just defended a corner, and then the transition into attack, and there's 2 or 3 supporting players up there with Bamford, giving him an option. And yeah, it was a great team performance.
Brilliant. Okay, let's move on then to Everton Newcastle from yesterday. Everton 0, Newcastle 2. Roz and I both predicted sort of 3-0, 4-0 in this one. And we said Dominic Calvert-Lewin would be the main man. How wrong we were, Roz. Callum Wilson, discuss, Roz.
Unbelievable, because I think they must have, I don't know, the drab performance that you expect from Newcastle. Their fans always talking about the fact they've got no ambition, they've got no legs in midfield. It switched to Everton. It's like they sort of, what's that film where 2 people kind of switch bodies?
Face Off? Oh no, they swap faces.
Face Off. It's John
Oh,
Farmer.
Face Off, yeah.
It's like they were just like impersonating one another. Poor from Everton. And yeah, Callum Wilson, really, I mean, we've always known he's a top finisher. Great movement, pacey, kept up his pace since the injuries. It's whether he can stay fit, really, and it's always been that case.
Yeah. So Callum Wilson really making a difference there for Newcastle, and yeah, that positive football, if you like, really offsetting Everton's pretty awful display, Mus.
Yeah, Everton just weren't at the races, really. They had a few chances. Jay Rodriguez went close a few times. But yeah, they just weren't up to it. And I think Newcastle's game plan was very effective, and they laid a trap, which Everton fell into. And even Ancelotti was saying they just didn't have the same desire and spirit as Newcastle on the day, which you rarely hear said of Newcastle. But if you see their running stats, I think of the top 5 runners, only Decore made it in. The rest were all Newcastle players. Kind of, I think Almiron was at 9K, and the rest were just shy of 9K. So they were definitely
9K. Is that it? That's rubbish.
Did that this morning before breakfast.
Yeah, that's literally, for me, that's a walk to the shop and back, right? Like, come on. Do that in less than 90 minutes. Right, anyway. Okay, cheers, Mus. So, yeah, that one finished. Everton 0, Newcastle 2. Okay, Chelsea 2, Burnley 0. Matt, our resident Chelsea fan, talk us through Thomas Tuchel's top tactics.
It's interesting seeing him run out with wing backs again. We've not seen that for a while. Fantastic goals from both Aspi and Alonso, who's been out of the game since September. So it's great to see him hit the ground running. We've only got 2 games to go off of, and the 2 lineups he's run with. We've seen that they bringing some players have been left out for a while, bringing them back in squad, trying them out, seeing how they're doing. Hudson-Odoi, fantastic game. Again, looks like he's earned his place in the team. Mount as well, getting in there. It's just a slight worry that after all the possession and all the shots, we still aren't seeing a lot from goal scorers. Tammy had to be brought off halfway at halftime, I believe. But yeah, I mean, it's a match we should be winning. So yeah, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, a pretty solid performance overall. They struggled in front of goal, but still they got the goals that mattered. And 2 points I want to touch on here is it's as soon as I saw Chelsea's lineup today, it reminded me of Tuchel when he was in charge of Dortmund and also a bit of PSG. He plays the most attacking wing backs. He wants his wing backs to be making runs in behind the strikers. It's unbelievable, and that's where I think those goals came from today. And he did it at Dortmund with Rafael Guerrero and Marcel Schmelzer, and he did it at he drafted in Meunier to PSG, to do that job for him as well. So that's the first point. That tactical knowledge and making that work in the Premier League so quickly is quite impressive for me. The second point I want to touch on, and I'm going to ask Roz, should Alonso have even been on the pitch to score Chelsea's second goal? There was an incident soon after the first goal where he went in big time on, who was it? I can't remember who it was, but he went in big on one of the Burnley players, and there seemed to be no issues with it. There was no VAR, nothing. What's going on?
Yeah, I mean...
Did you see it? I'm throwing you in at the deep end again.
Yeah, no, I did.
Yeah.
I think you're going soft in your old age. The thing about VAR is, everyone that's against it is usually complaining about the decisions that are made, which isn't VAR's fault necessarily. The fact that we have VAR isn't the problem. The fact is that we're looking at these decisions for about 5 minutes, and then they're still making the wrong decision. For that one, Schundikes can take it, can't they? I'm sure they can't complain about a hard tackle.
If anyone's ever worried about why we don't hear Premier League matches, we don't hear what the refs and players and managers are saying, just take a look at what Sean Dyche was saying. You don't need a microphone in front of him to see what he was saying. And this was a game that was on at midday. Surely children watching. I know I'm going soft in my old age, but outrageous. Outrageous.
I enjoyed it. I like his passion. I did predict. Basically, none of my predictions went right apart from this one.
This one. This one you said. You said 3-0 and Pulisic would be instrumental, and he got the assist for that second goal. Yeah.
It's interesting. I'd also like to point to the fact that I don't know how long he's been in the country. Not a week yet. Chelsea have always had the squad at their disposal. You go through the starting lineup just now. You look at the trophy count. You look at the fact that many of them have actually won trophies at Chelsea with Sarri. I fully expect Chelsea to climb up the table under Tuchel, and I fully expect all the Chelsea fans to suddenly go very quiet on the disgrace that is Roman Abramovich that's been the hand that has fed them for so many years. They'll stop kind of having their cake and eating it and saying, "Oh, it's such a shame we won all of those trophies under this system, but I don't like the system anymore because it's hurt Frank Lampard, who wasn't really doing very well." But I mean, you've got players like Kovacic in there, who's World Cup runner-up, always at Frank Lampard's disposal. You've got Thiago, who's got 28 trophies to his name. You've got a German international in Rudiger. this
And
whole sort
Werner
of
and Havertz.
transfer embargo thing, where Frank Lampard had it hard because of the transfer embargo. He always had world-class players. He always had players that should be competing, should be wiping away the likes of Burnley, and should be right up there in the title conversation. And Tuchel's done in less than a week what Frank Lampard didn't do in 2 years, which is dominate a game. You know, he created 19 chances to Burnley's one. They didn't get a look in.
As much as I want
to watch.
As much as I want to hear you carry on talking about your love of Lampard and your hatred of Thomas Tuchel, we do need to move on slightly. If you want to hear more of Roz's opinions on Frank Lampard, there is another video on the channel, which is called "Roz Goes In on Lampard." Check it out, and drop a like on it if you like it. Comment on it, we did that episode just before he was sacked, and Roz kind of predicted that it might be happening.
Me and Abramovich.
Yeah.
Like
Maybe he was watching with Trent, you know, who knows? Okay, we're going to move on then to Arsenal Man United. Yesterday, 5:30 kickoff. It was 0-0 at the Emirates. But Mus, someone should have won that game, surely.
Yeah, there were enough chances for both teams to have kind of, for both sides to have gone away disappointed that they didn't get the win. It's probably telling that, for United, their strike force, by and large, have been a little bit, out of form, and that's kind of been covered up by either a world-class goal from Pogba or, Fernandes coming in and chipping in with goals. But for the most part, Martial's kind of been off the boil for a while, and Rashford too kind of hasn't really been reaching some of those heights that we saw at the start of the season. And likewise for Arsenal, without Aubameyang, I think ultimately that factor also played a part. So yeah, kind of a draw that both teams won't really be happy with, but was probably a fair result in the end.
Yeah, and Arsenal, another clean sheet. They've only conceded 2 goals since Christmas, and and they were both in 3-1 wins, weren't they, Roz? So are we seeing, Roz, a different problem for Arteta? The trend being up the other end is where the issues lie, not in defence.
It's interesting, isn't it? They, if you look at the lineups before the game, incredibly strong Man United side, and Arsenal were missing Tierney. They were missing Saka, who I think has been their best player, just in front of Tierney for a very long time. And I think before the game, Solskjaer would have wanted the win and Arteta would have been happy with the draw. Having watched it, Arsenal were well worth the win there, and Man United were probably lucky to escape from Old Trafford with the draw and keeping a clean sheet. Odegaard came on. I didn't think he did much, but I thought it was a harsh game to drop him in on, really, after his transfer. Arsenal are missing so many players. I think for that they should be happy with the draw at Old Trafford. But watching it, I thought Arsenal was a far better team.
Cool. Okay. We've actually just had a message come in on YouTube from Jack O'Brien. Says, top show, have I missed Roz's Roy Hodgson impression?
Yeah, it was brilliant. I did it right at the start of the show, and it was spot on.
He said, I'll catch up. He said, I definitely think Roz's impressions should be a weekly segment. I don't know. What do you reckon? Let us know in the comments if you're watching.
I can do an impression of a guy that hates Chelsea, hates Lampard, hates Bielsa, hates Leeds. I do me really well.
I mean, your Sean Dyche is dynamite, but I don't think we can. I mean, well, we're on YouTube. We can say what we want, and this video isn't for kids, so you can go ahead and do a Dyche impression if you want, or you can save it.
I don't know. I
don't fancy it. It's all right.
I think last week might have been a bit more gravelly. I thought, we were playing against, you look at the kind of players that Chelsea have, players that Frank Lampard had at his disposal and did fuck all with. The fact that Thomas Tuchel came in and just, only been in the country for hours, minutes, really. And they're a terrific team, and we were just outclassed today.
And Sean, what did you make of that challenge by Alonso?
I thought it was sorry, just get my pass back. Yeah, I had too much liquid there, but yeah. I usually start the day with a cup of coffee followed by a quick, swift half of petrol. And yeah, it was a beautiful challenge, and I'm thinking about actually signing Marcus Alonso after that tackle. I thought it was beautiful. Charlie Taylor's gone soft. Taylor's like gone right down in my estimation after he had an injury, which is like a muscle injury or something like that. But it just put a plaster on it, and just it's just a physical game.
Mate, round of applause from me. Yeah, absolutely amazing. And the lads, look at that, a full complement of applause. Right, okay, that moves us quite quickly onto our classified check, all the results from the game week. I'm tempted to try and do it in a Sean Dyche voice, but I'm not. I'm going to do it in my voice. Okay, here we go. Everton 0, Newcastle 2, Crystal Palace 1, Wolves 0, Man City 1, Sheffield United 0, West Brom 2, Fulham 2, Arsenal 0, Manchester United 0, Southampton 0, Aston Villa 1, Chelsea 2, Burnley 0, Leicester 1, Leeds 3, West Ham 1, Liverpool 3, and Brighton and Hove Albion so far 1, Tottenham Hotspur 0. Oh, poor Spurs. I can hear you all crying. Right, okay. Leandro Trossard bringing you that goal after 17 minutes, assisted by Pascal Gross. Let's get over to Roz then for our fantasy football tips. I hope you've got your normal voice back now, Roz, because that...
Just about, yeah. But what, on fantasy, I was about to say that who do Brighton have next? They have Liverpool. So I was gonna say that should be a walkover. And I've actually got the Spurs game on in the background. Missed the goal because I was too busy trying to be Sean Dyche, but they almost just scored again. Tottenham were up against it. I think this week you've got to look again, sorry to be boring, to Man City and Liverpool. Having just said that about Brighton, I still think Liverpool, they tried out a diamond today. It was all about sort of hard work, and the quality just came. They've got players that can flick on a switch and just produce a moment of magic, like Mo Salah did twice today. And I think they'll have far too much for Brighton. With Man City, it's a weird one. They've got Burnley. Both Man City and Liverpool have each other next week, next weekend after this round of game fixtures. And there are kind of two ways you can look at that. You can say, right, they're either going to rest players, they're going to drop players and kind of to keep them fit for next weekend, or they'll throw in a few players to kind of play for their shirt and earn that start in that huge game week. So for Man City, I'd look to the likes of Phil Foden. Gundogan's been in great form. But actually one player I will focus on is Riyad Mahrez, who was rested today. We all know how Pep likes to sort of chop and change. And I think that kind of game, he'll sort of get it to feet, he'll run at players. I think will cause Burnley real problems. I think Riyad Mahrez is one of those players that might be playing for his shirt in the Liverpool game the following week. So Riyad Mahrez, triple captain, go for it. Never been wrong before.
Have you got any shouts for like a bargain player, maybe?
What a bargain player.
And
yeah, why not? Let's go for Nat Phillips at Liverpool. We all know about Liverpool's centre-half troubles. The fact that they're all getting injured and he's having to kind of draft in these very cheap, good players. I think someone like him will be a decent shout. Also, Emil Smith-Rowe. His price should still be low.
The Croydon De Bruyne.
The Croydon De Bruyne. Let's get that in every week. Beautiful. I thought Smith-Rowe, again, was pretty good against Man United. And, he's got it in the locker, hasn't he? He's just a brilliant, brilliant talent.
Okay, great shout. Anyone else got anything else to add? Mus, you got anything to add about fantasy this week?
Not really. I mean, I'm having an awful week pretty much. I captained Dominic Calvert-Lewin instead of Salah, so that was the big mistake I made. Also, kind of got messed. Kind of, my plans were messed up by Guardiola's rotations as well. So that, I'll blame Roz on that. I went big on my Man City players. And I think, I didn't see John Stones getting rested coming along, and that knocked me for 6. So, not a great game week.
You've had a shocker, mate. I'm just looking at your team now.
Let's not get into it.
I reckon... Oh, I've just overtaken you as well, haven't I, in the league? So that's great. Anyway, Matt, how's your fantasy team doing this week?
I still have yet to get the funding to start my team, so I'm reaching out to a few foreign interests.
Yeah.
Hopefully by next week we'll all be good to go.
Hopefully you don't go into administration and can never play ever again. Okay. Transfer talk. It's deadline day tomorrow. What's one transfer that needs to happen, Mus?
Well, I never heard of this player until 2 hours ago, but Ben Davies, not the Tottenham one, the Preston North End one. Sounds like a transfer that's got low risk but potential, high potential if Liverpool can pull it off. Could be a short-term solution and also potentially one for the future. So I'll go for that one.
Yeah, in at centre back, and also I've heard rumours that for some reason that Liverpool are looking at Mustafi on loan from Arsenal, which I would be absolutely over the moon with as an Arsenal fan.
There was a thing a couple of months ago where it was looking like Mustafi sort of running his contract down and Barcelona were interested. It's one of those things where if you look at his career, he's absolutely stolen a living at the top level. Not to kind of dig someone out too much, but he's sort of played for Valencia, top European side. He's played for Arsenal. He's a World Cup winner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
that's it. Why is there still interest? He goes to ground so often when he doesn't need to. For me, I don't rate him in the slightest. So if Liverpool want him, then then I guess we're crowning Man City champions.
He needs to watch a few Beckenbauer videos, maybe, Roz, doesn't he, Mus?
I mean, that would help. I mean, I was just going to say one thing. I've got personal vendetta against Mustafi because his name is uncomfortably similar to mine. So whenever I'd be in the Arsenal stadium and he'd inevitably make a massive cock up and all the fans in their rage would get the name wrong, and I'd just get this camera abuse from my neighbouring fans.
That's a great reason to hate it for. That's brilliant.
Matt, what's one transfer? There's only one transfer that's going to happen tomorrow. What's it going to be?
I'm not sure. I think it's the whole Dele Alli thing gone quiet.
Well, it's depending where you get your news from. It's both on and off. It's a Schrodinger's cat kind of situation. We won't know until we open the box whether Dele Alli is in Paris or not. So I see you enjoying my quantum physics synonym there.
Can't get enough. It's like my own little Big Bang Theory episode.
Anyway, Matt, sorry, I digress.
I can't be sure actually, to be honest. I haven't been keeping massively up with who's going where, so
outrageous, unacceptable.
You know what it was? He was spending the entire month of January hoping for a new manager, and he's already got it. So it's like what you want. His heart is full.
It's like when you open your Christmas present early and it ruins Christmas Day. Oh well, it's going to be a blue Christmas for you then, Matt, tomorrow on transfer deadline day. Roz, one transfer that needs to happen.
I'm going to go with Mus on this one. The Ben Davies from Preston. Good player, potential, and I mean we've heard a price, 2 million, nothing really in the modern game. I think once you start hearing a price and that it's going, if they're announcing it on Sky before a match, it's pretty much gone through.
Yeah.
So I think that will happen. I think Liverpool need a centre half. So that's where I'm going.
Okay, well, that brings us on to our 11. And this week's 11, if you heard at the top of the show, was all about Southampton players, past and present, who have represented Southampton in the Premier League. Roz has put an 11 together, which I will share on your screen shortly. You guys won't be able to see that, but everyone else will. And before I do that, though, I just want to ask Mus and Matt, give me 2 or 3 players that you can think of off the top of your head. Mus?
Yeah, so, without any kind of spoiling any surprises as we get Roz's 11 up, I thought quite a big omission was Ali Dyer. Ali Dyer was, one of the Southampton greats, otherwise known as George Weah's cousin. No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean, I think with Southampton, the kind of noticeable thing in their, in the Premier League era is a lot of the players, with one noticeable exception, that rose to fame didn't have their best years at Southampton. So whether it's Mane, Virgil van Dijk, Walcott. So I felt a bit guilty, including all of those guys in there. But they understand why Roz did. Matt Le Tissier is the exception. So probably like the most obvious and sure starter. And I'll let Matt come in.
Yeah, Matt. Who's off the top of your head? Who's 1 or 2 players from Southampton?
Obviously, Oxlade-Chamberlain, and you got wrote you down. Theo Walcott, Victor Wanyama.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, just chuck them in there.
Some strong shouts. Well, should we have a look at Roz's 11 then? And here is Roz's 11. Fraser Forster in goal. Left back, Luke Shaw. Centre backs, Virgil van Dijk and Toby Alderweireld. Cedric Suarez at right back. 2 centre mids, Wanyama and Schneiderlin. Mane on the left, Bale on the right. Le Tissier at cam, and up front, Ricky Lambert, I'm assuming that is. Not Paul Lambert, because he didn't play for them.
I mean, there are some obvious admissions. As the lad said, the likes of Theo Walcott, Adam Lallana was another tough one to miss out. He probably did more for Southampton, was better for Southampton than he did when he moved on to Liverpool. In my initial one, I put Alan Shearer in, until I found out that he wasn't actually playing in the Premier League with Southampton.
Yes,
true
story.
Matt Le Tissier and Ricky Lambert can fight over who's taking penalties. Two of the best penalty takers we've seen. But yeah, I also I never like these 11s where you've got, they try and fit all the attackers in, and you've got like 2 number 10s playing as holding midfielders.
Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
They've got to be able to play.
This is kind of why I've left out the likes of Walcott, the likes of Lallana. I put Morgan Schneiderlin and Wanyama in the middle of the park, so that the attacking 3 or attacking 4 can kind of really do their damage there.
Yeah.
Another omission was Wayne Bridge, John Terry's best mate, and the other was Nathaniel Klein. I thought Cedric Suarez, he's a player, Jeff.
He is an absolute player, and watching him play for Arsenal under Arteta is a joy. Mus, you were going to say something there. Sorry.
Well, no, I was just going to come in because when Roz was just saying he doesn't like it when people fit in all the attackers in these 11s, I was just going to point the viewers back to last week's or the last edition of EPL Weekly, where I think Roz played about 5 attackers in the Africa 11, just fitting in Mahrez, Salah, Mane, Drogba.
Yeah, it was quite an attack every time.
You know who I also put in? I also put in Mark Alessian, who is worth 3 defensive midfielders, in my view. Beautiful player.
He is a fantastic player.
That's a fair shout. Okay, guys. Matt, did you want to add anything, come back to Roz on anything there, or are you pretty happy with that?
I had Danny Ings. Chucked him in there. Yeah, I did.
There are a few current players. I mean,
yeah.
Fraser Forster, of course. You know, I think McCarthy's having a terrific season
Yeah.
at the moment.
I was surprised you didn't go for the Grob, Bruce Grobbelaar in goal. Didn't he play for Southampton at some point?
He played for Southampton in the Premier League.
Have I just absolutely dropped a massive bomb?
Okay, here's one. Were his best days, as Mus was saying earlier, were his best days with Southampton in the Premier League?
Well, I mean, I guess not. He played for Southampton from 94 to 96, so after Liverpool. And he played there for, well, by the looks of it, he only played a handful of games, so maybe he played a season of the 2 that he was there. Anyway, yeah, good shout. Fraser Forster, sorry, you win. Okay, that concludes this week's episode of EPLW, and we're not rushing to finish. Get beaten by the Zoom call. So I'm going to do a really long goodbye. So it's goodbye from Mus.
Goodbye.
It's goodbye from Matt.
Yeah.
It's goodbye from Sean.
Goodbye.
It's goodbye from Roy. It's goodbye from Roz.
Yeah, later.
And it's goodbye from me. Goodbye. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel so you never miss a stream. Goodbye. See you next time.